today I'm talking with Annie Jackson, a beauty veteran. She's been a player in successes across so many different beauty companies. She began her career at Estee Lauder. She helped launch Sephora USA and Japan. But importantly, she co-founded Credo, which reflects her unwavering commitment to change the way people think about what they put on the skin. I think this quest for kind of cleaner options has really not just the development of Credo and its retail store, but really kind of ushered in a whole new generation of beauty brands and the clean beauty movement. So, Annie, I'm so happy to have you as a guest.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I was saying that I live near the Prince Street store in Soho, and I love it. And everyone I've mentioned that I'm going to be talking to you has just been, so passionate, like beyond normal, like, oh, that's an interesting founder. So I'm really, really happy that you're here. For anyone that doesn't know Credo, can you just give us a quick elevator pitch for the brand?
Yes, we're what's called a clean beauty retailer, and we have 16 locations across the US. We have created something called the Credo Clean Standard, which really follows things like ingredient transparency, not formulating any products that have ingredients on our what we call our dirty list or our restricted substance list, following sustainable packaging guidelines, working with contract manufacturers that follow good manufacturing practices. Um, I could go on and on, but I think you're getting the gist. And I think really in a bite-sized way, it's honestly what a normal regulatory framework should be. That's what a brand should go through to launch a product today in any market, but it just doesn't exist in the US. It's a very underregulated space. And so we just thought we could find brands that are committed to this and, asking tough questions and challenging conventional practices. So that's Credo.
Amazing. And it is interesting, kind of, you're bringing some expertise and some transparency and some actual kind of rules into the space. What are just out of interest, like, what are the most shocking things that you think people are putting on their faces at the moment or all over their body?
Well, I think, over time, what we've all learned, I just finished a book called Cleaning House by Lindsay Dahl, who's a good friend of Credo and someone that we really admire all the work she's doing. She's at Ritual now. But it's really, I think the realization for us is just this chronic low dose exposure to a multitude of chemicals. And so, I think the most shocking thing that we learned for us was, yes, you've got a host of bad actor ingredients out there with hazard data around them, but there's lots of people out there that believe, that kind of I believe an older way of thinking that's like the dose makes the poison. There's nothing to see here. Like everyone needs to just relax. Your beauty products aren't killing you. I disagree. I disagree. I don't think it's as, your beauty products are killing you. I think cleaning products, beauty products, food, certain chemicals at a low dose, chronically ingested into your body, have an impact on your health. And, for us, to answer your question, we have 2,700 ingredients on our dirty list. So it's a pretty long list.
Amazing. Was there a trigger for starting Credo? What was that? What was that inspiration? What was that trigger?
The real trigger was myself and my co-founder wanting to start a company and work together, first of all, and wear our jeans and sneaks every day, honestly.
I love it. It's not like Well, I had this chronic condition and I felt like I had to do something like the classic DTC founder.
Nope. Well, like, how'd we
So,
work together? Because we had worked together for he was my boss actually when we were at Sephora. Starting that, we had such an awesome time. We just like, when you meet someone in your life and you're like, you're my person. We're gonna have a great time together and we're gonna do all kinds of cool stuff together. And we did at Sephora. We just like that experience was next level. So fun. And so I we learned so much, but we were also just kids given like this like plethora of huge responsibilities, like, weighing in on store design, store location, merchandising mix. It was nuts. It was so fun. But yeah, so he and I started Credo. I mean, that was a big part of it, was like, where can we like create a company that's doing good stuff, that hires nice people, and we all just like do the work and have a really good time doing it at the same time. There's no toxic culture, there's no, assholes throwing people under the bus. Like it's just we're doing good stuff together because, you only get one life to live, and how do we want to spend it? So that's how we went into it. And it's been a journey, I'll say. We're 11 or 12 years in at this point, and we've been through a lot. But really the true business model, or kind of impetus of Credo and why we exist was really Shashi, my co-founder. He and I both, we're from San Francisco. We started the company there. He in particular he was really the visionary of this entire concept, and he was so inspired by how progressive San Francisco is, and how like just people in San Francisco kind of questioned everything. Like, could this be done differently? How are we going to leave this planet when we're not on it anymore? Like all of that was very front of mind for him. And we were both beauty people. So the thesis was really like, can we do something in beauty that's like meeting people's demands in terms of efficacy, and be on the high streets of shopping areas where people are living a healthy lifestyle and investing in their health, but also find like the next generation of founders, like these cool people that are inspired to like, yes, do all of that, but also be very health forward in terms of ingredient selection, packaging, all of that.
how did you, I mean, obviously, Sephora, I think potentially after you left, started doing the kind of clean list or clean beauty. How did you know that this was a big enough idea? How did you kind of gauge this is not just a niche idea? There's going to be a a market for it beyond San Francisco, and because I think 12 years ago it was a little less mainstream.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we didn't know, we didn't know. We had a good gut. And I think that, I'll be honest, when we started this, all our peers were telling us retail was dead. Did that terrify us? Yes. We're out there signing 10-year leases, and expensive real estate. But I think the hypothesis was really like, could you turn this into a movement? Because we really believed it, like we really believed that you could do things better or different, and it's evolving. I think like when we onboarded a new copywriter yesterday, and I said to her, like our tone of voice at Credo must always be approachable and, hey, we're taking you along on the ride because we're learning as we go too. There's so much complexity to making products. We don't have it all figured out, and we don't position ourselves that way. But what we are saying is question everything, and my old life in conventional beauty before we started Credo, for a time I was in, product development and products, and you never asked what's in here and why and what impact on human health it has or the environment. It was always like, does it work in the component? Is it the shade we need it to be? Does it stay on your face? We asked those questions. And so I think, both Shashi and I always had this kind of David and Goliath thing, like wanting to kind of poke at something so massive because it hadn't changed for so long.
Yeah.
So the challenge of that was really fired us up because we knew it was going to be hard. So we're like, okay,
Yeah.
I have to have something that's like really inspiring because, you know, this is not going to be easy.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I love that. It's I mean, presumably because you had to, you started as a retailer, presumably you had to raise money pretty quickly
Yeah.
to start. How was that experience? Any advice? What was the hardest thing to kind of convince people that this was going to work?
Yeah, we got very lucky and very unusual situation that we found ourselves in. Shashi had a personal friend that was doing incredible work both on the philanthropic side, but also was investing, had just created an evergreen fund where he was really starting to invest in mission-driven companies. And so we shared the business plan of Credo with him. To be candid, we were ultimately looking for a capital partner that, had come from beauty and or retail, because it is, to your point, capital intensive. It's very challenging to build retail stores. And so, we thought it was important that someone had that, kind of that stomach, I guess, for this. But Seb from Next World Evergreen are our partners. They have been for 12 years. And he really got very fired up about this concept. And it's because it's really ingrained in him too. Um, and that's where I think, like, when I look back on this journey, um, God, we got so lucky with them because, the things that we've wanted to do that are impact driven often come with a price tag in the reverse direction. It's not necessarily revenue driving, it's revenue removing. Like when we removed single use packaging from our stores, that meant sheet masks and all the things that drive a lot of business, typically in beauty. And I think we kissed off somewhere between 500,000 to 600,000 in revenue. And he was like, when we explained it to them, our board, they were like, makes total sense. I don't
Yeah.
get pushback like that from them. And that's
Yeah, that's
they were
pretty
like,
that comes from a buy-in to the brand, to the credo
yeah.
that you're building. Yeah. I'm just curious. So you have come from, you know, big corporate, you know, jobs. How do you change? Like, I'm always amazed when I work with startups, then I suddenly don't need to do massive decks. I don't do really in-depth brand frameworks. I can just like focus on the core three things. What are key shifts that you made going from corporate big beauty brands to actually running this thing? I feel like people jettison quite a lot of the stuff they just don't need. Do you have any, like, what are the sorts of things that you feel like, you gained by dropping big
Yeah.
corporate culture?
Oh my gosh, how much time do you have?
All right, tech things.
Well, I think the Sephora experience is probably a good answer to that because we started without a store. I started at Sephora before we opened our first store in Soho, and then, stayed to watch it grow over time. And I think a couple of things that I realized uh, in maybe or maybe not. I mean, it's not intentional. I think the haste in which you need to hire people when you're growing a business, it's overwhelming and feels like a lot. So I think, you know, that's probably been my biggest takeaway from not just Sephora, but other companies where there's kind of this underground allowance of bad behavior and not addressing that bad behavior when it happens and kind of letting it permeate as a culture. Um, I think that companies really suffer from that. And, that's
Not
continuing. Yeah, not dealing with it and letting it kind of drive, an inability to get the most out of people. Like, I think I've worked at so many places where there's like just kind of a toxic behaviors or just an undercurrent of kind of fear. that I watch very talented coworkers not talk up in meetings or say their real point of view or really contribute in a very meaningful way to a company just because they felt like they couldn't. And so, that's probably the most thing we work on, or the thing that we work on most at Credo is our culture because it can get away from you. And, have we had moments where I'm like, this isn't the company I recognize? Absolutely. And have we had to work really hard to get back to where we wanted to be? Yes. And it was painful and hard, but it's so meaningful because it's
Mhm.
like you can get good ideas from anywhere. And I think if you're really lighting your people up and making sure that they're as comfortable in a Zoom with me as they are sitting down at dinner with their family, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. You'll get such great things out of those people.
Yeah. Any advice for founders? I think there's often that kind of stereotype of founder mode and it's, you know, brutal but like this, any advice for making sure that culture and creating a less, a non-toxic environment? Like what are your kind of key tips or advice for making sure that that stays, a core part of what you're building?
Yeah, it's really easy, but it took me a long time to figure out. Honestly, it's so you're gonna be like, well, duh. But beauty industry is pretty small, and we typically try to hire people that come from the beauty industry just because there's an understanding and a passion about what we're doing typically. Um, but back channel references, find someone that knows that person that can truly, because providing references, I always think that's such a dumb exercise. Like, of course, okay, Natasha, say something great about Sally. Okay, she's going to call you in 2 days. I think it's such a silly exercise. So finding someone that can give you unfiltered feedback about that person. But also, we started adopting something called filtering questions in the interview process. Like, figure out what really means the most to you and your department and what you're working on that is like just not going to work if you get that, if that scoots by you in an interview. Think about what those are. Like for me, my filtering questions. So for anyone that's watching this,
Yeah.
if you interview with me, I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
If you live near a store, I'm going to ask you if you visited the store. I can't tell you 9 times out of 10, people say no.
See? Yeah, that's insane
Stop
to me
here.
that anyone would interview, especially with you, and not have been to the store.
Oh, all the time. All the time. And in my mind, I'm like, oh God, how am I going to get the 30 minutes back that I have booked for this interview? So it's not so obvious that I'm ditching out now. Um, and if you don't live near a store, spend some time on our website. Order a couple products, go through the experience to show me you're even like the slightest bit interested in what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Is there anything that you wish you'd known when you started? Like, what do you wish you'd known?
Oh
Like,
my gosh. Well, so much. I mean, when we started the company, so we started like officially started, we started kind of sleuthing around on stuff in 2013, and opened our first store in 2015. And Shashi passed away in 2017. So
sorry. Yeah.
he was really the kind of, forward thinking visionary. He was working with our board and our capital partners, and I was a merchant. And I was finding brands and filling the store and building out the stores. So, I mean, I had to learn so much of what I didn't know, how to understand what we needed in terms of capital, how to, do a board deck. I mean, stuff that I did as a very little slice as a merchant, how to suddenly lead a company. And so lead a company that had 4 stores under construction at the time. And, we had like 3 people working for us. So, I mean, I think when I go back and think about that time, it was one of the toughest times in my whole life
Yeah.
ever.
And
Yeah.
on top of grieving someone,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine. Um, gosh. Um, yeah, that's sounds very intense. Transforming your role, growing a business and dealing with the loss of someone that you decided to go all in on, and that was part of why.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to do this together, but I think also, what people often forget in times like this is when culture is so important to you, even with 3 people, 30 people, 300 people, it doesn't really matter. But when culture is so important and something like this happens, what do you think everybody does? They freak out, like what's going to happen, and there's this kind of pall over everybody of certainly it's jarring and traumatic because someone we love and care for has just passed away at way too young of an age. But also what's going to happen? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my job? What's going to happen to the company? They were all thinking that for a really long time. And so to get yourself back kind of with the feet under you again, um, it took time. And it's like, that's all it took was time. And you want time to go by so fast because you just want people to feel comfortable and okay again, but it just doesn't.
So how did you do it? How did you get through it, learn everything that you weren't necessarily, you know, doing before? Like, how did you ever wonder if Credo was going to make it? How did you feel? How?
100 times. I mean, I think anybody does as you're growing a company. Um, so I mean, the first thing that we did was, again, thanks to our, majority investors, our owners, Next World, they gave me the time and space to like just kind of get our feet back under us again. And I think I would think anybody else would be like, she doesn't know what she's doing, get somebody in here quick. And that would have been so damaging, like I think it was hard enough as it was when my desire for Credo to succeed really knows no bounds. And so I was with the first one to say like, hey, I don't want to screw this up for us because I don't know what I'm doing. Like I've never been a CEO before. I want this company to be successful. So let's together find someone ultimately to come in and be the CEO. And so um, we did that twice. And it didn't unfortunately work out for different reasons. But I think that part for me was very valuable to watch 2 other people come in and try to run a very complex business. And it didn't work out for, whatever reasons, but it, when people say, God, I'm so sorry you had to go through that when it should have always been you. But, I could have never done it had I not gone through
Yeah.
it, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Curious, what would your filtering questions be for a CEO? Knowing that you've kind of, obviously you don't need one now, but like thinking about what you were looking for.
It's so funny. I feel like in my next place, I feel like I could just have a consulting business talking to founders that want to bring in a CEO. Because
So it's rough for everyone, I
oh my
think.
God, it is the hardest thing. My filtering question would be both for the founder and for the CEO. So for the CEO, I would say, please tell me what your approach is going to be for the first 4 weeks you're here. For the founder, I would say, you need to go away for the weekend without your phone and just take your head with you and ask yourself and be honest with yourself, are you ready for a CEO? Really answer that question. And if you are, you need to make sure you give that person the runway to do what they're hired to do. Because we have this ecosystem of 130-ish brands, and over the years, some have come, some have gone, so like moral of the story is I've worked with hundreds of founders. And over time, as they scale, I've seen them kind of, like, I just want to do product development. So we hired a CEO. And 2 years later, they were like, so the CEO left. And many times it's because that founder won't move out of the way and let them do what they're hired to do.
Yeah, yeah. I see that a lot. And what about, so what are your preferred for first 4 weeks?
Well, I don't know that I have a preferred, but I think them being more, if they'll be transparent about their approach,
Yeah,
would help me understand, just for me personally,
yeah. How
understand
they,
how this is going to go.
Yeah.
you know? And if we can actually just, like I said, ask ourselves the hard question of like, are we gelling? Am I going to be able to be alongside you while you do this?
Yeah. Um, Talk to me about, and again, you're such a pioneer, and I'm sure there are a lot of beauty brands that basically got their big break at Credo. How has beauty evolved since you started? Like, um, what's changed? What's beauty like today versus 2013, or or a while ago?
Oh gosh, it's much harder to be successful. I would say just from a consumer point of view, they want it all. They want you, founder person, to be front and center, be dynamic, be inspirational. Don't say anything dumb that's going to piss somebody off. They want your product to be sustainable, good for you, efficacious, cool, price friendly. It's a high, high bar. And so I think, people really want it all. And so then on the flip side, to be a founder today and running a beauty brand, um, you really do need to show success at scale. You need to show success on your DTC site. You need to be profitable, and you need to show success in kind of like a smaller scale retailer. Usually, why people tend to, get their feet wet at Credo is because, we're very contained, and we're also we really pride ourselves on, kind of, I always say we're co-piloting this plane together brand. We're in this together. We're going to support you, because if you just write a PO and ship the product in, like, what's the point? You think if it doesn't fail, or if it doesn't succeed, that's your fault. I think you have to both work on this together, but it's hard. I mean, it is so hard, and the market's so saturated that I think to cut through the noise, it's really, really challenging. Social media and keyboard warriors are prevalent and working 24/7. So you got to be able to shut that out too, because if you start to gain popularity and traction, all the haters come out. And I've watched brand founders really suffer with that. And so I think you have to really have the ability to shut it out. It's hard. It's really hard
Yeah.
today.
I think it's one of the craziest categories. I mean, like, I always think maybe beverages
Yeah,
kind of
there is.
as cluttered. There's just thousands of brands,
Yeah,
each with their little niche, a lot of which, I've created beauty ideas and products and brands for often big companies. And, there's not much difference really when it
yeah,
comes to some of the stuff in the pots.
yeah.
So it's such a what makes a good beauty brand for you?
I mean, we just launched one to me that it's like still gives me chicken skin. Bonjour is the name of the brand. And the reason is she's done something phenomenal where it's like unheard of, because it is so crowded, and it's like kind of what's done is done. And as a merchant, it's hard to get excited about, oh my God, this is so different.
Yeah, what
Uh,
is it?
so she has created a serum in a compact. And it is stacked with skin loving ingredients. But she is a French pharmacist. So she comes from this by trade and by expertise. The packaging is like, I mean, it's called Bonjour, but it might as well be called Hermes. I mean, it's the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen. She nailed the scent. She nailed the formula. She herself is not only, an expert and knows what she's doing. She's absolutely stunning. So like, it's like the whole, it's all that in a bag of chips. And it's like, as a merchant, you see that and you're like, oh my God. And it happens so rarely that it's really exciting when it does.
All right, I'm gonna pop over and take a look. I mean, so
Gorgeous.
it's like a serum in a solid.
In a beautiful solid. Yep. So you kind
Amazing.
of like, dig it out almost.
Yeah.
Um, but I have very dry skin, so I can't even tell you
Yeah,
just
right. Me too. I'm
how
gonna go
amazing.
over. I'll go and try that today. Any other, like, what are other brands that you love? Just generally. Doesn't have to be in beauty.
Well, I mean, if outside of beauty, it's funny because, whenever we're looking at new store locations and the broker's like, and this person's moving in and that person's moving in, I'm like, unless it's beauty, I'm like, I've never heard of that.
You're not interested. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in outside of beauty, I love Caddis, the eyewear company that I'm wearing today. I wear them every day. And I love brands like, I mean, it's gonna sound nuts, but like Aloha, protein powders and things like that, and Applegate meats. I love companies that in an inspirational way can convey their mission because I think it's really hard to do to be cool and crunchy at the same time. And I say crunchy in a lighthearted way because it's like,
Yeah.
that's where it's kind of born from people that are, inherently like more cognizant of conscientious product formulation. But I think it's really hard to do.
Yeah. No, totally. I think the cool but crunchy is a real, yeah, it's hard, but when it works, it's kind of amazing. I'm curious.
The funny thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one little story and not
Yeah.
to interrupt you, but it's kind of a funny one because it encapsulates what we were just talking about is um in our stores. So we're in, high streets. So Soho, Pacific Heights, Newbury Street in Boston. And that's because, we were looking for high foot traffic and people that are investing in their health.
Hmm.
And that often means it's a more, affluent neighborhood and people with more purchasing power. And we always say they want it all. Like I was saying earlier, like shampoo bars, for example. I can't tell you how many shampoo bars I've been pitched. I don't even know, 100. But I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, it's never, ever, ever going to work. It's never going to work for our customer. And
Yeah.
I applaud their want to do this because it is the way that the world should be going. But our customer wants it to be, a sustainable package and great for you ingredients, but also look amazing in her shower.
Feel amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
some of
things
these
like
no
shampoo
no
bars.
suds. The no suds, no smell. It's hard.
Never gonna work for her. Never gonna work for her. I mean, she wants it to suds up and be really foamy and smell amazing and come out
Yeah.
looking incredible. And I think, it's tough. It's really
Yeah.
tough.
What do you make of the whole I have a 13-year-old daughter and yeah, I mean if I showed you her vanity,
Yeah.
it's insane. I mean like
Very.
yeah. I mean what do you make of it? I am a self-confessed beauty addict and I am a little disturbed by how many lotions and I literally asked her, was she stealing stuff? Because I just can't even understand how she has so many products and she just sits there and plays with them. And like, what do you make of it? I feel like there's been a big shift in culture, not just with young people, but in how people look and the rise of like the med spas and the injectable bars and like what do you make of beauty today?
Yeah, it's harrowing to be honest. And I mean, Natasha, I feel for you having a 13-year-old right now because are you okay? First of all, I'll ask you.
Yeah, yeah.
Are
I
you
will
okay?
say my son is definitely easier.
My kids are now fully adulting. So I can look back at this and think like, wow, to have a kid and right now at that age it's yeah, wow, it's a lot. Beauty, I think it's interesting. Yeah, I think it's harrowing. I think social media and everyone looking like a Kardashian is kind of terrifying, honestly. Like just I really feel like celebrating who you are just as you are without changing yourself is really how things should be. I'm old. I feel that way. Um, I feel like our kind of general ethos at Credo is like, we're definitely the no makeup girl. We are all about, celebrating who people are and how they're coming into the store. Um, But I think in a weird way, like AI and all this plastic surgery and injectables and all this stuff, that's taking the beauty industry one way. And I always say to our team, we're just going to stay on our path over here.
Yep.
And what's happening is our path is becoming less and less traffic filled, and we're kind of starting to sit alone, and I think it really laid itself bare on election day. I happened to be in New York in our store in Soho, and that was a tough day, and our customers were coming in droves, and which I did not expect, not to shop, just to hang out,
Yeah.
just to hang out and be there because they felt like it was a place that would make them feel better. And, I walked home to my hotel that night energized, and I thought I was going to walk home fried, and I actually walked home like, wow, like we built something really special here that people came to because it made them feel good. And that was everything. I wish, Shashi knew that.
Yeah. Amazing. Um, any thoughts on I feel like the future of beauty retail is evolving, and you mentioned AI, and agentic shopping and everything going on. Like, how do you think about the near future? Are you using AI? Do you, how do you think about those sorts of evolving in how you shop, in how you sell, and how
Yeah.
you create and market?
Yeah, I think technology is interesting. I think we look at it right now and it's kind of nascent stage is how can we find tools that maybe unburden us from like heavier tools that have always been kind of a, dinosaur feeling to allow our team to do their job better and faster. Um, but I think from a shopping experience at retail, you always have to keep innovating. You always have to keep testing and changing things, or else you're going to die. So, but how much technology has on an influence on how Credo does that is kind of remains to be seen. I think we're pretty entrepreneurial when we think about any opportunity. And I have learned over the years that we have to say no to almost everything and yes to very few things, just because we'll get off our game and we'll get distracted and we'll have our hands in a lot of different things. And so what we try to do is just stay very close to our customer, understand where they're going, and provide the most exceptional experience to them that we possibly can. But it can't be standing still. It absolutely cannot. So one day, if we talk in a year, I might say, oh my God, Natasha, we implemented contactless, shopping, and they just walk out the door now and nobody even talks to them. Who knows? But
Yeah,
that right now.
your Credo AI spokesperson that shows you and does all your content. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, yeah, how do you feel? You seem very grounded, and maybe that's experience. But like, how do you stay? Like, what do you do above and beyond work to just stay two things up and in culture, but
Yeah.
also, so calm and reasonable as a fan?
I know it's so rare, isn't it? I always say when I introduce people, I'm always like, Kristen, meet Ken. You're both normal. You guys should know each other. Like, because it is kind of rare. You're nice, normal. You're not vapid and vain. Like, meet one another. Go forward. Um, no, I live at the beach. I live in Santa Cruz with my family, and I spend a ton of time at the beach. We spend a ton of time outdoors, and we spend a ton of time with our friends. We have a great friend group here, and I think that's really what keeps me realizing that there's life and meaning behind work. I think work, especially in the early days of Credo, is all consuming, and it can really become your identity. And I think I want to be very cognizant of that. We're also totally remote now, which means my office is in my house. And so it's like, it's so easy to just kind of work 24/7. So I'm much more, I have a ton of discipline with myself now. Like I think all of us are seeing all the, stop drinking, get 8 hours of sleep, buy an Aura ring, like it's all coming at you. And so I really do. I try to set my phone down at 7 at night and never pick it up again. I'm trying to read more and just really occupy my thoughts with things other than Credo.
Amazing. Um, you've done so much. What are your goals in the near and long term?
Well, I think, as I shared a little bit, Credo's gone through a lot. We lost our co-founder.
Oh, I've lost sound, but Shimmy, is that just me? Yeah, I can hear you, not Annie.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes.
Oh, good. How strange. It just popped
I
up
know.
on my.
That's never happened. I don't know why.
Hopefully you can edit that out.
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
It's very, yeah. Yes, I think so.
good. But anyway, I was saying that Credo's been through a lot. And so right after Shashi passed, essentially, we had COVID hit, and then it took a while to recover from that. So really over the course of 12 years, we've opened 16 stores. We wanted to open 100. That's what our business plan stated. So I would love for Credo to grow and have more locations because I feel like, first of all, our brand partners need a partner that's aligned with their values to be able to scale. And I would love to be that partner for them. But I also would love to get these brands in front of more people. And I think that these brands are really rolling up their sleeves and doing the hard work. And, getting them in front of people that don't even know they exist would be really rewarding to me.
Amazing. All right. Yeah, we didn't even talk about being a retailer during COVID. Gosh. Uh,
We don't have to.
I know. I know. Almost, it's like it never happened. I mean, sort of.
It's weird.
Um,
It's like it's morphed into like everything is one day. Like it's all just like I had no concept of time. Did I do that last year, last month? I don't know.
I know. Yeah, I feel like I'm that way. I was thinking that that's just getting older. Like literally, I have no sense of time.
It could
Uh,
be. I'm blaming
uh,
COVID, but, yeah.
yeah, yeah. All right, we're gonna go quick fire.
But
What's your desert island beauty product?
oh God, easy. Josh Rosebrook hydrating mist. I have like 7 of them currently.
And you
And
just
bags
use
covered.
during the day, all
Yes,
throughout the.
yes. It's amazing.
All right.
Amazing.
Uh, Best career advice, worst career advice you've ever had.
Um, Best career advice I would say is, I think I just said it earlier, say no to everything. Worst career advice is, someone telling me I needed to dress a little bit more revealing for a job interview. This is a long time ago, and I'll leave the company out of it. But yeah, that was
I mean, so many questions.
if I wanted to get the job, I could stop dressing like a tomboy, I think is exactly what she said.
Okay. Yes. I feel like I've heard that before as well. Yeah. What are your superpowers? What do you think has helped you be successful?
I think I've learned, I didn't realize this honestly until I went through some of the things I've gone through. I'm really resilient. I feel like I can be like, curled up in fetal position one day, like, oh my God, like how do we go forward? And the next day I'm like, okay, we got this. Let's go. I think I don't know how I possess that. If I didn't, Credo would have been a 4-year-old company and that would have been it.
What do you wish you'd learned earlier in your career?
Oh, to trust myself. I think I know a lot more than I think I do, and I think that I always tend to feel like someone else is going to do a better job, and I just need to kind of be their wingman, wingwoman. And so I feel like this isn't my personal therapy sessions, but I do feel like me not trusting myself potentially put our team through more than they needed to go through because we cycled through people that I thought they must know something I don't know. They must be able to do this better than me. What do I know? I didn't even go to college. So like let's get somebody in here that knows what they're doing. And that was not only hard for me, that was really, really hard for our team. And that weighs on me.
Interesting. What do you wish that people would stop doing to their skin?
Oh, stop doing for their skin. I think probably fillers would be like I've seen some of the most beautiful that would age this naturally beautiful to turn into something like, well, it's like a science experiment. I wish they would stop doing it. All they look like is some crazy person that has their face filled with fillers. I don't know the point of it.
I know. Yeah, no, it's super worrying. What should people start doing apart from sunscreen?
And really, I mean, I am a melanoma survivor, so sunscreen is probably, when people ask me, it's a boring answer. What's the best anti-aging product you've got? It's sunscreen and a baseball hat or a big wide brim hat. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you have mentors?
I do have mentors. So I have a gentleman by the name of Steve Bach. So he was Shashi and my first boss at Sephora. And then he went on to do incredible things like running Shinola and Filson and Avon. But he is like, if you met him, I wish you could meet him. And he's South African. He's funny. He's got this like wry smile, but he doesn't take shit from anyone. And he taught me a lot about just go do it, go for it. And even as a kid, like I was just, 26 at Sephora, and he just like threw me out into Japan and was like, go open some stores. And when I was like, they don't even like talking to women here. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he was like, with that smile of his, go do it. You can do this.
It's pretty awesome. What is the biggest misconception about being a founder?
Oh, I mean, I think it's probably got some reality to it. I think the founder life, has become this like, oh, look at me, I'm at the one hotel in West Hollywood. Look at me, I'm in Paris. I'm at this cool event now. I mean, I don't know. I always look at that and think, how do they do that? Like I'm working every day. I am like, driving to the airport. I'm on Southwest going to LA. I mean, it's like, that's not reality. And if it is, you're not really running your company. So I think people think like, oh my gosh, it must be so glamorous. And you're in beauty. It must be so glamorous. I'm like, half the time I'm eating a salad that's sitting on my lap as I'm driving to the airport. So it's really not. It's really not. It's great, but it's not glamorous.
Amazing. All right, last question. Tell me someone or something that you're professionally jealous of.
I think the brand Mother Denim is the one brand I absolutely love. And the reason I love it is because they're so unapologetic in their tone. And they're just like, this is who we are. We're going to say whatever we want to say. And I don't care if you like it or not. And I think Credo is very driven by me, very kind of, stay the course, stay in the middle lane, try not to piss anybody off today. And I feel like if we could do that a little bit more, how freeing it would be. I really envy them.
Annie, thank you so much for your time. Thanks so much for listening. Please do look at some of the other episodes we've done too. You can find them on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, or professionaljealousy.com. Get in touch if you have any questions, feedback, or importantly, if there's anyone you want me to meet/talk to on the podcast. A quick thank you to the Unreasonable Studios and Shimmy, our talented producer. You can follow me on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever. Thank you so much. Please share and subscribe.